Many of us want to be able to save the world, but few of us understand that we are capable of having a real and powerful impact. And it all starts with what we put on our plate. Reductionism is the movement to eat less meat and dairy. And even though this seems like a small and insignificant gesture, it actually truly has a great effect on the world. Right now, the average American consumes about 209 pounds of meat each year. The way we are currently consuming meat is unsustainable, not only for the environment, but also for our own personal health as well. Reductionism or reductionarianism is not the movement to abolish meat, but rather to reduce the amount of meat and dairy we consume. And by doing this, it'll help prevent environmental damage, stop unethical behavior, and will help your own personal health. So first off, the meat industry has a titanic effect on the environment. David Pimentel, a professor of ecology and research for Cornell, writes about this. In his article, he explains that it takes 100 times more water to produce a kilogram of animal protein than it does to produce a kilogram of grain protein. As the figure shows here, that it takes 15,000 liters of water to produce 1 kilogram of beef. Just a quick reminder, only 2.5% of the world's water is fresh. That's the water we use from everything from drinking to flushing the toilet. This water is very limited, and the animal industry uses 10 times the amount of water that's used in all private homes annually each year. The animal industry also creates a tremendous amount of waste. Livestock and its byproducts creates 3,200 million tons of carbon dioxide each year. And yes, that's more carbon emissions than cars produce, and yes, that's more than half of all carbon dioxide emissions. And that's not even factoring in methane, which can be 100 times more destructive than CO2. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. The animal agriculture is also responsible for 91% of the Amazon's destruction. Animal industry is responsible for massive deforestation, massive land use, and massive extinction of wildlife species. The way we are currently producing and consuming meat is detrimentally and catastrophically harmful for the environment. But the environment is not the only reason to stop eating meat. There are many ethical reasons to do so as well. Now, there's a lot of great farmers out there, and there are a lot of great farmers who take good care of their animals. Sadly, mass meat production carried out on family farms has absolutely no regard for the ethical treatment of animals. Many consumers have no idea what circumstances their animals they are eating are raised in their entire lives. Pigs are kept in cages so tight that they cannot turn around. Hens are kept in cages the size of a piece of paper, and calves are chained and kept in complete darkness to keep their skin as white and as attractive as possible. And if you can ignore the inhumane treatment of animals, you cannot ignore how these factories treat humans. Factory farms put family farms out of business. In addition to this, they treat their own workers terrible for incredibly low wages. Kate Good, a journalist, reports on the devastating effect that these factories have on communities. Many of these factories and their improper disposal of waste cause massive cesspools. And these factories are built in poor communities, often communities of minorities and refugees, many of whom become very sick from living in the vicinity of such unsanitary conditions. The way we produce meat right now is ethically wrong and morally despicable. But as long as our lifestyle will support this, absolutely nothing is going to change. Now, the last reason I'm going to give you today to support the reductionism movement is a very selfish one. Do it purely for yourself. The statistical evidence supporting the health benefits of a meatless diet is incredible. Timothy Key, a medical expert, conducted an extensive study which was published in Cambridge University Press, in which they looked at the possible health benefits of a meatless diet. What they found was eating less meat will lower your chances of being obese, having high cholesterol, or having a stroke. In addition to this, the study also suggests that it will lower your chances of having prostate cancer, colon cancer, rectum cancer, or breast cancer. The study showed that the less meat you consume, the longer you live. In addition to this, the study also showed that a meatless diet, as long as it's nutrient conscious, is adequate from all stages of life, from childhood to infancy to adulthood from adolescence. And I know the big question that always comes up here is, well, what about the protein? And honestly, you would be surprised how much protein can be found in non-animal products. Soy, for example, has 28 grams of protein per cup. Lentils have 19 grams per cup, and even broccoli has 8 grams of protein for only 100 calories. Meat, on the other hand, is not only incredibly high in fat, but it also has an acidifying effect on your bones. Eating less meat is the healthier choice. So now that you know the problem, you need to know how to help. And no, I'm not going to ask you to become vegetarian. And I'm not going to ask you to become vegan. I mean, if that's what you want to do it. I'll support you 100%. But for the rest of you, for those of you who want to help, but just aren't quite ready to give up meat, that's totally okay. That's absolutely fine. But understand, you are still capable of helping, and you are still capable of having a real and powerful impact. And no, I'm not going to ask for your money here, but I am going to ask you to adjust your diet a little bit. Eat a little less meat. Eat a little less dairy. You can have meatless Mondays, or you can give up beef, or you can have no meat before 6 p.m. There's a million varieties of levels you can help, and all of it will have a great impact. And if you cannot give up any amount of meat under any circumstance, then make sure you're getting the right meat. Make sure your meat's coming from family farms and not factories. Actually go to the farms. Farmers who have nothing to hide will be happy to show you their livestock and how they treat their animals. But most of all, educate yourself and help others become more educated as well. There are a lot of sources out there that can teach you how to make quick, easy, and delicious meatless meals. Thug Kitchen is my personal favorite for quick vegan meals. So in conclusion, reductionism or reductionarianism is a powerful movement, and through it, it can stop environmental damage, it can prevent unethical behavior and treatment of humans and animals, and it can help your own personal health. So commit to reductionism and commit today, because this is something we need to act on now, because it's up to you and it's up to me, it's up to us as the consumer to stop this, and we can stop this, but we need to do this together.